do 4 antennas with current hardware, we can at least do, say, the 2 dipoles and then the reference, and we can start doing interferometry. So you have the 2 dipole antennas, they're half a wavelength apart, so they're 1.5 meters apart. And at that point, and since you put the screen back towards the transmitter, it turns out you can only see, about half of the universe in front of you. You can't see behind you, but, that's just kind of the reality of it in this setup. So we'll do that. There's also, you may have seen pictures, there's a particular phased array antenna. I mean, phased arrays, like you see these antennas on a line a lot of times. You can also put them in a square. So there's like just 4 of them. The degenerate cases, there's 4. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 in a box. And we can also do that one. What's cool about those is you can steer, again, just using even 4 of them, you can steer the beam, or you can steer a null. So you can either steer like focus over here, or you can steer this part that's notched out. So maybe what we want to try is steering the notch towards the main transmitter. But the theory only gives us about a 10 dB attenuation towards the transmitter, so we may need to use both the combination of the, the big screen behind it and then the phased array antenna. There's a couple other ways we could go doing some more analog tricks, but we're going to try to do it without getting crazy about that. So the other thing that you start looking at is this idea. So I got all this raw returns, and right now we just showed you 2 of them. But the real world is really messy. So you got echoes coming back off of the mountains, and you just got noise sometimes. And the trick is to figure out what do I care about. So there's a bunch of different algorithms. People have been at this radar processing really for a long time. And one of the ways that's pretty easy is if you just start by only looking at stuff that has like a non-zero Doppler, the stuff that's not moving, probably I'm not interested in. Since I know that the transmitter's not moving and the receiver's not moving, the target's not moving, I don't know. So we get rid of those. And then the trick is, okay, now let's go, and we got all these data that we feed into this thing where we know that really there's solutions, the solution of this particular set is a hyperbola. And then what happens is over time, they usually do this technique called Kalman filtering, where it's basically you have this noise, you have a basically rough guess, and then time ticks, and you go look again later. Now the cool part is that the airplanes we're looking at probably can't do like light speed jumps. So Newton probably still rules. So you start looking at, okay, I've got a possible fix here that's like anywhere on this branch of this hyperbola. And then 10 seconds later, I got another possible fix. But some of those solutions are not physically possible, that the airplane could not have gotten from where it went to where it was. So you start narrowing down that like that. And then it gets real tricky when you got bunches of targets flying around. Also where we're going is, of course, we want this to really look like the radar screen. We'll probably even make it sweep even though this doesn't sweep. I mean, that's kind of the artifact of back to where the thing is spinning around. They call this staring. So this thing just looks all the time. Look, 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 look. And there's a question of how often you refresh the thing is kind of like how long a period are you integrating over to get the data you're looking for. And then when this is all working and, we'll have the white paper out that says, order this thing, and then you build this antenna, and then you run this free software. Then the next thing we do is we go probably do it all over again with digital TV signals. So the cool thing about digital TV signals, because of their bandwidth, we should be able to get fixes that are within like 50 meters. So if you remember back to the FM, we get 3 kilometers, which is like, it's okay. I'm not arguing it. It's like better than 0, right? But 50 meters is very exciting. And okay, all this code is in the GNU Radio CVS. So if you can't find it, send me email. It's in there under the GR-radar module. And we have a mailing list that stuff all gets discussed on. Most of the action around the GNU Radio project is really on the mailing list and in the CVS repository. So, and then questions. We got a few minutes here for questions. All right. Yeah. This is like my main priority right now. There were some things that got in the way, like making all this data stuff work, but now that's been put to bay. So, I don't know, a couple, 3 months maybe, something like that. We could, basically we should now be able to, now that we know the software is not completely broken, we ought to be able to do some experiments on the RF side and see what we get. I mean, once we start getting the raw returns back and we can see something, then of course there's all this multiple target tracking, but I'm looking forward to seeing real returns from, you know, the hardware we got.
Sorry?
All right.
Sorry?
Yes, go ahead.
Right here. So this will only give you the primary echoes, right? So in order to actually use it for identifying the objects that are around, have you thought of any ways of combining it with, I mean, you obviously can't query the transponder on these planes, so have you wondered about combining it maybe with an ACARS receiver or something like that?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's possible. We get the primary response, and then we also, you know where we know when they're being illuminated and all that. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, good. All right, thank you very much.